Coming to you from an unknown location, at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, bringing you the unknown. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal 411. Your hosts are David Reagan and Jason Scott, and together, they dive headfirst into the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding, featuring notable experts ready to share their insights into the world of the strange and unknown. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of something warm, and prepare to be enthralled. Here at Paranormal 411, we're not just a radio show, we're a community of truth seekers, adventurers of the mind, exploring the boundaries of the known and unknown. We invite you to join us, to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions. Whether you've had your own encounter with the supernatural or you're simply intrigued by the inexplicable, we want to hear from you. So, don't be shy. Drop a comment and let's unravel the mysteries of the universe together. Buckle up as we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the heart of the extraordinary. This is Paranormal 411, where the inexplicable meets reality and imagination takes flight. Stay tuned and remember, in the world of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems.
All right. As you can see, yeah, David's hearing voice, but he's not here in physical form. He's still on the road.
I'm a specter.
He had a few problems getting back home, so we're gonna do this with him on the phone.
Jason's fanning this all by himself.
That's
tonight.
right. Hopefully it goes well.
Hey,
we got a good show coming on tonight. We got a good guest, Mr. John Russell. He is a great psychic. I've read his book. He sent us a book of his last book, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Ability. And I hope we talk about that a lot tonight. So, David, you want to go ahead and give your tongue twister spiel?
Yeah, I'll give my mouth full here. If I could, I don't have anything in front of me, so hopefully I don't miss anything. If I do, Jason, you just go ahead and chime on in.
All right.
Want to let everybody know that we do have a book out also. It's East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore. You can buy that on Amazon. This here probably within the next month or so, right, Jason? That book will no longer be sold because we've got a new one that's about to come out.
Yes.
And it's going to replace this book. So second edition, and it's going to replace this book. So, and it'll be a much bigger book. But I also want to let you know that we are live on Spreaker. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly Twitter. If you're looking to find us, you can also find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or X. And we're also every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on WDJY FM, which is 99.1 FM. If you're in the Metro Atlanta area, you just tune in there. And if you're not in the Metro Atlanta area, you go to WDJYFM.com and check us out, or you go to paranormal411.org. And on the first page, we've got a link to WDJY. So we're also on all of your favorite podcast. Hey, how's this? We're also on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Join us.
Hey, we're also on Subspace Radio.
Subspace Radio, yes.
Pandora, and Sirius XM. So he just missed a few. He's got that memorized though.
I've got it pretty good.
So we got John Russell.
Woo.
Yes. This is his second time on Paranormal 411. I don't think we did a video the first time. I think we was still in audio.
Just
only.
the audio format. Yeah,
so it's good to see a face with the voice. And so John has been a professional psychic for 50 years. Internationally known, he has provided psychic readings for clients in over 40 countries and still reads for a worldwide clientele. He's been a paranormal researcher and investigator since age 11 and has experienced over 1,000 paranormal manifestations. In addition, he is a UFO experiencer. And over the decades, John has studied and investigated and practiced an abundance of psychic paranormal disciplines. He is experienced in psychometry, clairvoyance, psychometry, yeah, remote viewing, seances, telekinesis, crystal ball gazing, ghost hauntings, ESP, and the list goes on. He's a great guy. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. Let you talk to him. I do like one thing, that the story. I hope he tells it again about Abraham Lincoln. Hey, John.
Hey, Jason. Hi, David. How are you guys tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be back with you guys again. I'm looking forward to it. We always have a good chat.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So you got this new book.
Yeah.
How's it doing? Seems like it's doing good.
The book is doing really, really well. When it came out in July last year. And when it came out, it hit #1 in its category at Amazon. It was in 3 bestseller categories at Amazon. I think the lowest it was in one category was #7. And it also came out #1 in hot new releases on Amazon, and then high numbers in a couple other categories. And it hit the Barnes & Noble Top 100 best-selling books list when it came out. So doing really, really well. Really pleased with it. And I have gotten reader feedback literally worldwide from readers in Spain and Switzerland, various other places, telling me, John, we got the book, we tried it, the techniques work. So that's a great feedback.
Yeah, I've been myself, that copy you sent us, I've been reading it here for the last week or so.
Oh, good.
And I'm trying. It's very interesting. You need to try what he's given us. So it's a really good book. And also your other books do real well, because I follow you on Facebook, and you're always getting awards, and it's just something great to see.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that all the awards and recognition my books have won. I'm really honored, really pleased, really humbled. It really means a lot to me. And I get a lot of good reader feedback, and it just means the world to me. My readers mean the world to me. You know, a book isn't a book without a reader. So it means the world to me that everybody's finding the books entertaining, helpful, informative, and useful. And that's what I wrote them for. That's what I was trying to achieve.
Yeah. Well, I know what got you. I know you've told us this before, but some of our listeners may not have, heard it. What got you into the psychic phenomenon, your ability? How did you discover it?
Well, that happened when I was 5 years old, and I was lying in bed one night, sound asleep. My parents had left a nightlight on down the hallway in case I had to get up at night, go to the bathroom. And I woke up wide awake in the middle of the night, just totally, completely wide awake, no drowsiness, no grogginess. And I thought, how strange. And what woke me up? And I lay there in bed a little bit and I listened. I thought, well, maybe there was a loud noise outside or something, but I didn't hear anything. And I raised up on my elbows to look around my bedroom, just kind of look around, see if I could figure anything out. And I looked out my open bedroom door down the hallway, and in the nightlight's glow, peering around a different door frame that led off into the dining room, there was an elderly black gentleman peering around the doorway, staring at me. And I screamed bloody murder, because my family's white. We didn't have anyone black living with us. I don't even think we had any black friends at the time. And my presumption as a 5-year-old child was, somebody's broken in the house. Here's this old black dude that I don't know who is. And when I screamed, he walked around the doorway, started walking down the hallway toward my bedroom door. His eyes were locked on mine, never took his eyes off me. And I knew he was elderly because he had close cropped white hair and he had a white mustache. And he was every bit as solid as you or I. He wasn't translucent, wasn't transparent, wasn't misty. He was every bit as solid as you or I. And I remember what he had on. He had on this long sleeve red plaid flannel shirt. He had on khaki pants, black belt, black shoes. And the closer he got to me, I screamed bloody murder again. My parents finally woke up and came running. And when they came running, he began to get translucent and then transparent and then disappeared, vanished. And my parents came in. My mother was holding me, telling me, no, you just had a nightmare. It's something you saw on TV. I was like, no, there's somebody in this house, even though I'd just seen him disappear. And my fright was so real. My father actually literally went through the house, checked all the doors and windows, opened the closets, looked under the beds. I mean, that's how real my fright was that I conveyed to my parents. And of course, nobody was there in the flesh. So they said, oh, you just had a nightmare. And I said, no, I know better. I've seen my first ghost. And I didn't know why he had come. Was he going to come back? Was he going to want to talk to me? Was he going to ask me to do something I considered scary? And so it was almost impossible to get back to sleep. They left the big bedroom light on for me. And for the next several weeks, I spent my time looking over my shoulder. Where's that ghost? Is he stalking me? Is he coming back? And had a very difficult time, as you can imagine, getting to sleep. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, these physical paranormal manifestations started. And not only I experienced them, my parents experienced them as well. Other people that were around us began to experience them. And although, I was that young, didn't have a vocabulary, couldn't articulate it, but intuitively, I began to realize two things. The elderly black man had come to open up the portal to these experiences. That's why he came. And that these experiences were going to be immensely important and valuable to me in my life later on, and to other people as well. They were going to be something that was helpful, not only to me, but to other people. And so that put everything into place for me. And then I began to get at ease with everything. And then shortly after that, I was out in the backyard. I was, I guess, close to 6. And I was out in the backyard playing with a toy, and this car pulled in the driveway I didn't recognize. And I ran inside and I told my mom and dad, I said, hey, there's somebody just pulled in the driveway. I don't know who it is. I said, okay, we'll come look. So they came out and said, oh, these are friends of ours. And I'd never met the people. I didn't know them. So they got out and they were standing there on the sidewalk talking with my mom and dad before they went in the house. And I was goofing around with my toy, and I came up and stood there and was listening to them talk. And I looked up at the people, and there was a lull in the conversation. And I just said, you guys have just been on vacation, and you took that car that's in the driveway. You drove that car, and you took 2 children with you. You have 2 kids. They're not with you today, but you took them with you on this vacation, and you stayed at this hotel that was painted this color. Out in front, there were these trees that looked like this, spaced at regular intervals, and the hotel had this many floors, and around back was the pool area, and it was painted this color. Well, the guy was kind of grinning funny, lopsided, and looking back and forth between his wife and my parents and me. And his wife was looking at me literally bug-eyed with her mouth agape, looking at me like I had cobras growing out of my ears. And she looked at my parents and she said, how the hell could he possibly know that? And my parents were kind of taken aback, didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. And they were like, oh, kids and their imaginations. She goes, no, this is not kids and their imaginations. How the hell could he possibly know that? And my parents didn't quite know what to say. And she said, this is what we came to tell you today, that we came to tell you about the vacation that we had been on. We drove our car. We took our 2 kids. The hotel we stayed at is exactly how John described. How in the hell could he possibly know this? And my parents were like, go play, John. And I was like, okay, nice to meet you folks. And off I went. And it scared them so bad they never came and visited my parents again. And that was when I discovered my developing psychic ability that was an outgrowth of the old black man's visitation. And so then I started working on that, and I studied everything I could, read, learned everything I could, continued to have all these paranormal experiences on the physical realm, and continued to develop my psychic gift. I started doing my own paranormal investigations by the age of 11. By the age of 15, I was doing psychic readings for friends and family virtually all the time. By the age of 18, then I started reading professionally, and I've been a professional psychic for over 50 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's still an amazing story.
It is. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, what's amazing about that is is the very first part of your life. My experiences mirror that almost identically.
Wow.
My mom moved us when we were in Tennessee. You know, moved us to West Texas where we lived. We moved to Pecos when I was 3, and we lived there in a battered women's shelter place. And from the time I was 3, I started having these. I would wake up. It was 3 o'clock every morning. 3 o'clock.
Witching hour.
Yes, sir. Exactly. And what would wake me up was the same thing. I would always have 2 or 3 people standing in my bedroom, and it was like you said, they were as real could be. I mean, they looked like you could just touch them, and they were corporeal. They were real people.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I would do the same thing. I'd scream my lungs out. I'd run out of my bedroom and run around the house, and these things would follow me.
Yep.
And this happened all the time to me.
Yeah.
And finally, when I was at the age of 5, I was running from them one morning, and I finally stopped. And I don't know what clicked in my head, but I actually stopped and I turned around and looked at him and said, "I'm not afraid of you anymore."
Yeah, yeah.
And I stopped getting woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, after that first experience I had with the old black ghost, after that, I've never been afraid again, ever, of anything.
Yep.
And I've been startled. You know, I mean, if you're in your house by yourself and you know you're alone, you turn around, there's a person standing there. Yeah, you're startled, but then they vanish and you go, oh, okay, just another ghost visitation. So, but I've never been frightened again, never been scared again. And I never had anything that really made me uneasy or anything. So it's really been a blessed life. And I've had way over 1,000 paranormal manifestations that have occurred in my life on the physical realm. Other people have experienced them with me. We've caught them on film, video, audio. So it's really been an interesting and charmed life. It's really been amazing.
Yeah. See, I'm total opposite. If I have an experience or think is an experience, I'm out of it. Freaked out. Not so bad now. But when I was younger, I used to be terrified of the dark.
Yeah.
And I seen some kind of shadow person when I was younger, and I didn't, until I started doing this show with David, you know, I didn't know what a shadow person was.
Right.
And that's kind of creepy.
You know, that's one of the main things that I've tried to do for my entire life is to explain to people that the other side, number one, is real, obviously. Number two, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. And that number three, if we approach the other side with the proper understanding and the proper respect, we can gain a lot from the other side, a lot of protection, a lot of guidance, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of help. For example, my guardian angels, and yes, I believe that guardian angels are literal, real beings. They have saved my life, literally, not figuratively or metaphorically, literally many times. And that's because I listened to them. I cultivated this relationship with them. So we have to understand that the things that we see on the so-called ghost hunting shows on TV, that's not what it's like to really interact with the other side. And movies like The Exorcist, that's not what it's like to interact with the other side. And all the so-called demonologists and exorcists and this, that, and the other, that's not what it's like. There's not a demon behind every bush waiting to get you. People are always worried about, oh, I'm going to get an attachment. Guess what? You've already got an attachment. There's spirits around all of us where we sit right now. We don't see them, but they're there. In the same manner of radio waves. Radio waves are going through the air right now around all of us, wherever we're at. We don't see them. We don't feel them. But if we plug a radio in, turn it to the right channel, oh, there's a jazz station playing. Turn it again. Oh, there's a country station. Oh, there's a rock station. Well, those signals are there all the time through the air, always. And likewise, there are beings, entities, intelligences, angels, spirit guides, our deceased loved ones. They're around us all the time. We're just not aware of them. And every now and then we get that capability to plug in and discern that they're there or the conditions are just right. They come through to us. And the reason it's frightening is usually a knee-jerk reaction from our religious upbringing or from what we've seen on the movies or the ghost hunter shows or whatever, that basically teach us to be afraid of the other side. And that's one of the things I try and correct with my books and in all my interviews and everything else is, look, this is a normal, natural process of life. Don't fear it.
Yeah. That's a good analogy about the radio waves. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, especially with the fact that, EVPs are caught in just that way, right? Most time you don't understand that they're there until you listen back.
Right.
And, and they've got equipment now that, use shortwave radios and computers attached to each other where they can almost carry out full conversations with these things.
Right.
Which is pretty amazing. I've seen them my whole life. Like Jason and I went to the Chickamauga battlefield. When was it, Jason? In October?
Yeah.
And I saw a Confederate soldier with his hat off waving at us, like asking us to come help him or something.
Yeah.
And but I've never had auditory where I could hear them, or anything like them speaking to me or anything like that. It's always been just visual.
Yeah, I have everything. I have visual, auditory, the whole 9 yards worth. And I write about in my first book, Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead, I went to the Olustee battlefield here in Florida, which is one of the big battlefields of the Civil War, one of the most noted battlefields. And I got there real early on my motorcycle, parked my bike, and was wandering around the visitors area. And I came outside, and all of a sudden, I heard all this sound of horses and muskets firing and cannons going off. And I was like, son of a buck. I said, man, here I have stumbled in while they're doing a blooming Civil War recreation. And how am I going to do an investigation with all this noise going on? I'm going to have to get out of here. I don't like recreations of any kind. I just don't. If you like them, you go to them. God bless you. That's fine. I'm not condemning you. I'm not condemning them. I just don't like them. So I was like, son of a gun, I'm just going to get out of here. So I thought, well, before I ride my bike out of here and ride right into the middle of them and embarrass all of us, I'm going to walk over here and see where they're at. So I see how to make my getaway. And there was not a soul in the flesh on that property.
Wow.
And I heard horses whinnying and neighing, and I heard drums, and I heard musket fire, and I heard cannon shot. And I was like, holy cow, I've just been treated to the most authentic recreation anybody could ever have by the spirits that were here, just totally amazing, totally amazing.
Yeah, I can say I did hear a horse down there when we went. It was pretty wild. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't no horses there, of course, but even my daughter said she heard the horse.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So I guess we can get to your new book, unless you want to talk about something else.
Yeah, that'll be great. Let's talk about the new book. Yeah.
So what encouraged you to write the book and let everybody know I don't know if there's secrets of the trade, but
yeah. Well, the main thing was over the years, the other side has taught me techniques, spiritual tools and techniques that I know work because I've put them into practice and they've worked for me. And so when I was doing reading for clients over the years, I would say, okay, well, you're going through this particular situation. Here's a technique that will help you do this. And people would report back, I did it and it worked. And so thick as a brick as I am, finally it dawns on me, hey, I need to put these techniques in a book, make them available to everybody so that everybody can use these techniques to improve their lives and make their lives better. And my focus on writing the book, people say, well, why 20 ways? There's 20 techniques. Why just 20? Why not 30 or 50 or whatever? And it's like, well, 20 is a manageable number. And it's a lot if you think about it. I mean, there's a technique per chapter and there's 20 chapters. And that's a lot of information. people have told me that I'm a great storyteller, and I appreciate that very, very much. And that's not to say that I embellish or write fiction. I don't. My books are all nonfiction. But you have to write information in a manner that's entertaining, or people are not going to read it. So they've said that my first two books, I was a great storyteller. They said this third book, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities, they said that's the textbook. They said, John, I'm getting into this thing. It's almost like I have to study it. It's entertaining. It's good. And it's easy to read. But it's like I really have to think about what's going on here. I really have to study this. And it's something I want to go back and look at over and over again and practice things and learn more things out of it and so on and so forth. So in writing the book, people say, well, textbook, that sounds complicated or difficult. Well, it's not. And this is the feedback I've got from readers as well. They say, John, you put this in language we can understand. You've made it simple. You've taken all the complexity out of it. I can understand it. I can do it. It's easy. And so that's the main thing in writing the book. I wanted to be able to take somebody that said, I don't know if I have any psychic ability whatsoever, or I may only have a little bit. I don't understand complicated things. And that person I'm taking by the hand and I'm guiding step by step through each learning process in this book. For example, the first chapter is on psychometry, which is gaining information from an object you hold in your hand. I define what psychometry is. I tell you step by step in simple terms how to learn it, how to practice it to get good at it, and then the real world application of it. And I do that for every technique in the book. And you don't have to buy anything. You know, a lot of books you buy and it's so complicated you can't figure out what's going on, or you've got to buy all this special expensive equipment or hard to find herbs or candles or something or this, that, and the other. And then you can only work certain things on the third Wednesday of a month under the full moon or whatever. That's nonsense. It does not have to be that way. I'm telling you, with over 50 years experience in my life, it does not have to be that way. So this book, the most expensive thing that you're going to buy in this book is a box of nails and some lemons. Other than if you want to buy a crystal ball, and you can get a good crystal ball at Amazon, $25, $30, $40, something like that. Other than that, everything you've got you're going to need, unless you want to go out and buy a tarot deck, something like that. So there's no great expense involved in learning any of this. It's not difficult to do. You don't have to wait for a certain time of the month or a certain moon phase or anything else. You don't have to have any hard to find implements. You don't have to find any hard or difficult to locate or expensive herbs or anything like that. And most importantly, it works.
Yeah, it is a informative book. You was talking about tarot. I know I was listening to a podcast and you're like a master tarot reader, right?
Certified tarot master. Yeah, I got that when I was in my teens. Before I started reading professionally, there was an organization at the time. They're long defunct now. But there was an organization called Tarot International. And tarot was actually an acronym, the Associated Readers of Tarot International. And you got the degree of certified tarot master. And everybody that's listened to me say anything in my interview said, you don't master anything. And you don't. You never master anything. But that was the degree that they gave. And I wanted to earn that. I wanted to get that. And this was back during the day that they gave you the course material. And they had some really unique ways of understanding and utilizing and working with the tarot that I had never learned anywhere else, still haven't to this day. And I still use some of those techniques to this day. And after you learned the material, you had a test over each bit of material that you learned. And you had to fill out this test and you had to send it in, wait for the results. This is way before the internet, sports fans. And you would get the next course back, the next test, send that off, get it graded. So I had aced everything up until that point. And to get the degree, you had to send in 3 actual readings. And the people could be friends, strangers, relatives, whatever. But the proviso was that you had to write down all the cards that came up in the reading, the interpretation you gave of those cards and why, the direction and the guidance that you gave to the client, any other extraneous information that came to you intuitively or whatever. And then each person that you read for had to sign off on everything that you said, every card that you interpreted, everything that you told them, and say, okay, this was either accurate or it wasn't, it was helpful or it wasn't, I understood it or I didn't. And then you had to send that all in. And I passed all that with flying colors, and that's when I got the degree. But I had been using tarot for a number of years. I'm an artist and a photographer, and I always loved the artwork of the tarot and the colors. It always drew me in, and it always spoke to me. And as I studied it and got better with it, I understood that the tarot cards have an inherent power and ability in and of themselves that then we as practitioners, you learn that, you develop that, you develop a rapport with the cards, and it's kind of a melding of the minds, if you will. It's kind of a dance, a tango that takes two people. But I've always loved the tarot. I still use the tarot in my readings, and I've probably got, oh God, probably 100 decks. I don't use all of them in the readings, but I love the artwork and I collect them. So I've probably got 100 decks around here, but it's something I've used my whole life. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, and there's a chapter in the book on how to learn to read the tarot.
We've got 2 decks at the house.
2 decks. Yep. There you go.
Yep.
Joseph,
My wife,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Joseph Bryant in the chat room here, he said, you go ahead about the tarot because this goes into something else. Yeah.
I was just going to say that, yeah, we've got 2 tarot decks at the house, and I used to dabble in it a long, long time ago, and then my wife started dabbling with it, and then she got scared a few months back. The story's never been told. She might get mad at me, but she was starting to do it every morning. She was spending time.
Right.
Kind of meditating and then just pulling a few cards and stuff like that, just for her own daily cards for herself. And so she did this one morning, and then we've got chickens and all kinds of stuff. So she went out, fed chickens, done stuff, and she came back in, done some work, and then she kind of took a nap. Well, a person spoke to her like she could physically hear them in her ear, and it woke her up and it scared her. And she has kind of put them up and not really touched them since.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, she called me crying because she was scared.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, look, I said, I can't really understand it. I said, because I've had, like I said before, things happening to me my whole life.
Right.
I said, so I'm used to crazy. I said, but, your problem is, and this is what a lot of people's problem is, at least this is my opinion. A lot of people try to rationalize the unrational. Can't rationalize that stuff, because the second you do, all you're going to do is second guess yourself, and you're going to think you're crazy.
Yeah,
well, you're not.
Exactly. Or you're going to have that knee-jerk reaction of fear when it's not necessary. And, that's one thing that I tell people. It's like, look, when you begin to pay attention to the other side's going to pay attention to you. You're going to have interaction. You're going to have communication. And if it's been something where you go, oh, well, yeah, that sounds interesting, I'd like to pursue that. And you do. And then you get that first serious communication, that first serious manifestation, and you're not prepared for it. You're really not ready for it. It does frighten you. But, that's the normal process of reaching out to communicate with the other side, is they're going to communicate with you at some point. And it always absolutely irks me to tears when these so-called ghost hunters go out and ask the ghost to manifest, and they do, and then they scream and run like little girls. It's like, dude, that's what you're there for. What are you doing? So, tell your wife not to be afraid, not to be upset, that she's just simply encountering the reality that she's been interacting with.
Yep. That's pretty much what I told her. I told her, I said, look, I said, you wanted this.
Yeah.
And when you finally got exactly what it is you're wanting to shove it back in a drawer and pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
Let it happen.
Let it happen. Let it happen.
Yeah.
Because you've got two choices at that point. You shut it down and you stop your spiritual growth, or you open it up, respond to it, and allow your spiritual growth to progress. And, you know, again, you have to understand that there's no boogaboo out there that's going to get you. You know, there's nothing going to harm you or whatever. I've done all these paranormal investigations. I've never been threatened. I've never been bitten. I've never been scratched. I've never been shoved. I've never had any of those things happen. So, you know, you have to understand that a lot of what people tell you is fear-based, and it's fear-based from what somebody's told them, misinterpretation, misinformation, religious upbringing, or whatever. And, you know, the other side is not like that. The interaction with the other side is not that way at all.
Yeah.
So it did touch on a little that Joseph was talking about. He said that some look at it as a gift and some think it's a curse.
Right.
And I guess that's what you were talking about. You know, if you're really scared of it and everything, it could be a curse, I guess.
You know, I've always looked at it as a gift, and it's always been something that I've appreciated, that I've enjoyed. It's always been with me 24/7 my entire life. I wouldn't know any other way to live. It's blessed me. It's protected me. It's saved my life. It's enabled me to help people worldwide and enabled me to save a few people's lives through the information that I've given them. So it's a wonderful thing. And, you know, people shouldn't look at it as a curse. People should recognize it for the gift that it is. And that may take some rearranging of their mindset, because I know people, I knew a concert pianist. He was a buddy of mine, and he was a concert pianist. He'd gone to Juilliard and all this stuff, and he played the concert circuit. And this guy could sit down and rip off classical music on the piano. And if you weren't interested in music, if you didn't like long hair music, classical music, if you didn't like piano, didn't matter. This guy'd make you weep. He was so good. It was just friggin' awesome. It was the most amazing demonstration of talent I've ever seen. And he hated it. He hated his gift. He hated his ability to do that. And I think some of it stemmed from his early childhood, when his parents were like forcing him to practice and forcing him to strive for this excellence. And to him, he viewed it as kind of a burden. And all the rest of us were like, oh my God, please play for us, you know? And so when you have a gift, you have to work through whatever it is that enables you to exercise that gift and be at peace with it and enjoy it and realize it for what it is. It is a gift, and it is a beautiful thing, and it does help people.
Yeah. And I think
it took me a long time when I was a kid to learn that lesson, because I was just it scared me for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough, though, to be grown up Southern Baptist, that I wasn't, you know, told all this bad stuff about it. Right. Even I remember our preacher, me being a little kid, he would pull me aside almost every Sunday and would be like, look, he'd tell me, he'd say, son, he goes, this is a gift, and you need to use this gift, you know, and all I can remember at that time was, I wish I could give you this gift and see if you like it, you know. That's all I remember being a kid, because I just remember it scaring the you-know-what out of me, you know.
Yeah.
And so I could see both sides of it, because at first, like I said, for a couple of years of my life, it wasn't a gift. It was a curse.
Right.
It was something that I didn't know, I didn't understand, and I didn't know
what to do with it. Yeah.
Exactly. Any context with it or anything like that. So,
you know, and that's what I tell people in my book. It's like, if you run across a technique in this book that you don't feel comfortable with, don't do it. Skip it and go on to the next chapter. You know, there's 20 chapters in there. There's going to be something you find that you're comfortable with, that works for you, that produces good, positive results in your life. Grab that and hang on to that. And if anything else boogers you, then don't mess with it. You know, save it for another time.
You know, there's one in your book that I found that was pretty fascinating, and that was scrying.
Yeah.
I've always found that really fascinating as far as the ability to people to do that. Because, you talk like Nostradamus and stuff like that. They used a lot of those techniques to do the things that they did.
Right. Yeah. Scrying is, for people that don't know what scrying is, gazing in a crystal ball. That's scrying. Gazing in a bowl of water. That's scrying. Gazing into a mirror or any other reflective surface. That's scrying. And it simply is attuning yourself to the other side using a medium such as a crystal ball or bowl of water, whatever, to gaze into, not at the depth of the crystal ball or the water, but into it, to gaze into its depth and wait for images to form. And you may see images, you may see symbols, you may see numbers, letters, words, names, whatever. And that's just one more method of getting guidance from the other side. And I teach you step by step how to do that in the book.
Wow. I think this book can help a lot of people. I mean, do you think everybody has this ability and they just need something to bring it out?
Exactly. And everybody has the ability to a degree. Not everybody's going to progress to the level that I have in my life. Everybody's going to have different levels, different plateaus that they reach. But whatever level of ability that you have, this will help you to develop that and to bring that out. But I always tell people, I said, look, there's no button to push. There's no magic wand. There's no shortcuts. If you wanted to get in shape and you went to the gym and your goal was to bench press 100 pounds and all you could bench press was 30 pounds, you would go to the gym and you'd work on that till you could bench press 50 and then 55 and then 60, 75. And then you finally make it up to 100. And so it takes persistence, dedication, commitment. And then if you quit going to the gym for 3 weeks, you come back, maybe you can only bench press 80 pounds now. That 100's gone away and you got to work back up to it. It's the exact same thing in the spiritual realm. Consistency, practice, and dedication. And the more that you work on it consistently day to day, the more results you're going to see up to wherever you plateau. And then if it's something that you laid off from, if you've been doing real good with psychometry and you want to impress a friend, you say, hey, come in here, let me show you what I can do. And you hadn't worked on it for 3 or 4 weeks, you may have a real difficulty reconnecting with it. So people need to understand that these techniques absolutely will work, but they take persistence, dedication, focus, and continuity.
Yeah. I know there's one part in your book about astral projection and out of body experiences. Is that something that you can do?
Yeah, there's absolutely things that you can do to induce astral projection. I talk a lot about dream interpretation, dreams, receiving information in dreams, and then lucid dreaming, which can be a form of astral projection. And there's instructions in there on how to do that and how to approach that. Lucid dreaming is such a difficult concept that there's people that have devoted entire books to that. So I'll just kind of basically touch on that enough to let you know what it is and to tell you that that's an area you need to approach with respect, knowing yourself. And I include all this information in the book because there have been psychologists and psychiatrists that say if you have any type of mental illness, even if it's minor, lucid dreaming can be detrimental to your mental health, to your state of well-being. So you have to know yourself, and you don't just automatically plunge into things. If you know you have certain problems or certain mental illnesses or emotional problems or difficulties, know yourself and don't just automatically jump into things. Approach things at the level that you can do and that you can handle, and you're going to be all right.
I had, back to when I was a kid again, I had probably the most lucid dream I've ever had. And I'm torn between whether it was a lucid dream or if it was me remembering a past life.
Right.
I don't know. So we were raised very fundamental Christian. And what I mean by that was we didn't even have a TV in our house.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to have a friend if they didn't go to church with me.
Right.
I went to Christian private school all the way up till I was in junior high.
Yeah.
And so that's how strict the life was, right? So I had no knowledge of like war movies of any kind or anything like that. And so I was in Boy Scouts, and my stepdad and I was on a Boy Scout trip, and I had my own little pup tent and made the tent that night. Went to bed, went to sleep, and now we're out in the middle of West Texas, and so anybody that knows West Texas, there's thorns and everything that'll poke you in the feet. Every 5 feet that you walk.
Grew up in West Texas, so I know what you mean.
That's what I thought. Yeah. That's what I thought. So something crazy in West Texas is going on.
Yeah.
It's everything there is trying to kill you. Yep. But so I had this dream, but I could smell it, touch it, taste it, feel it. I woke up, I heard like gunshots and mortar shots and stuff, and I woke up and I got out of my tent and I looked down and I was wearing like green, like all green, like an army, all green outfit. And I had a gun in my hand, a rifle, and I took off running, and I would dive down and shoot back where I could hear shots coming from. And I did this. What woke me up, and like I said, I could smell the gunpowder in the air. I could feel the adrenaline of like being shot at, which I've never had that really happen. So, I'm just drawn from the way I felt.
Right.
I mean, it was so realistic. And what actually woke me up was I was probably about a mile away from our camp. And the fact that I was barefooted and the whole bottom of my feet were full of thorns and stickers. Yeah. And that's what finally woke me up. But I was literally a mile away barefooted before I finally woke up.
Yeah. That could have been an extremely lucid dream that, spurred your physical body into action. And it might not necessarily have been a recall of a past life. It could have just been a very strong psychic reception on your part of what had occurred in that area. And then that infiltrated into your consciousness, into your dream state, and became part of the lucid dream. And you became part of that scenario, that energy that was replayed there, that was existent there.
Okay. I've never really looked at it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. There are super powerful energies that remain in places, and people say, well, what is a ghost? And there's a lot of argument there. Well, a ghost is somebody that's dead, a deceased person. That's a ghost. And there are ghosts that apparently kind of stay in an area and replay in the atmosphere, kind of like a movie replays over and over to kind of let you know what happened there, what occurred there. And those ghosts apparently don't interact. They're just kind of there. And whoever sees them gets the same exact scenario replayed over and over and over again. Whereas intelligent ghosts that are active, that are alive, that are interactive with the world will change messages depending upon the person and give you a message that's appropriate for yourself. So we have these entities that are kind of replayed in the atmosphere. We have these scenes and energies, kind of like when I went to the Civil War battlefield, that replayed there. There was nothing interactive with me, but it was just, I could hear what had gone on there. And it, basically replays over and over and over again. And if you're psychic, if you're sensitive, you have the ability to connect with that and to think of stumbling upon a TV in the forest and pressing the play button or the power button to turn it on. And you see this scene and it's so real that you feel like you're sucked into it and drawn into it. That's kind of a description of the way some of these things play out. And the energy is so strong that's left behind. It can be so overwhelming that we think that, wow, was that me? Was I a part of that? When actually you may just be witnessing what happened there. That just may be replaying, just kind of to send a message to you to let you know what happened there. And these energies that replay like that over and over and over in the atmosphere, it seems like they're left behind, and it seems like spirit reinforces that as a way to say, hey, look what happened here. Feel this, experience this, learn from this. Let's not make these same mistakes again.
That's some wise words.
Thank you.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So,
I like that interpretation of that. Whatever happened to me too.
yeah. So also in your book, when we're talking about lucid dreams, I'll go ahead and say this. I've had a couple in the past year that have been really loose. I was sick last year around March for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And I started having these dreams about, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking it was like aliens, really, but they look just like you and me. And they would come down, and I was having a little heart trouble.
Yeah.
And they would come down, like put their hand on my heart and stuff like that. And it felt so real. They even like shot this thing on my backside, and it just really felt real. And I couldn't move. I couldn't do nothing. And that's when they put their hand on my chest and told me they was going to take me with them. And I told them I couldn't, that I had a family. And so they just, I don't know what they did then. They let me stay, but it's just weird dream. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, didn't you start having those before you found out what was wrong with you too?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought, because that's what was kind of weird to me, is that he was not feeling really good.
Yeah.
And then he started having these lucid dreams or whatever they were.
Right.
And then it wasn't until months later he finally went to the doctor, because he looked like death warmed over. And he actually found out that, he was having problems with his heart and stuff like that. So that was what was kind of weird about it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
That may have been a way for the other side to communicate to you to go and get your health taken care of, to get your heart checked. I tell people in my chapter on dream interpretation in the book, the more bizarre a symbol is in your dream, the more important it is, because that's something that you're not going to forget. It's something that's going to make an impression on you. So if the other side has something really important to communicate, they're going to do it in a way that's unforgettable to you. They're going to give you the most bizarre, weird, disturbing, memorable symbol that they can, so that you take notice of it and you remember it. And then I tell you in my book, how to interpret those symbols and how to work with those symbols. So that was, it may have not even have been an alien visitation. It may have just been your higher self, the other side, saying, hey, you got some situations here you need to tend to, and communicating with you in that way through a dream to make you say, okay, let me go get the heart checked out.
Yeah. I mean, they said I was walking around like for 6 months with a collapsed lung and fluid all around my lung, and my heart went out of rhythm.
Yeah. Arrhythmia, or tachycardia.
Yeah. And after that, they shocked me back in rhythm and everything, I'm doing good now. I'm not really having those dreams like I was. It was just weird.
That was just telling you to go take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think so. That's something good about your book. I mean, that could tell you a lot of things about your life.
Yeah.
I think we need to take a little quick break, if that's okay with you. So we can do what we need to do. And
there you go. Pay the bills.
Yeah. David, you got anything before we go to break?
No. I'm excited about the conversation. This conversation is excellent, and the twists and turns that we're going down is
yeah. We don't do a scripted podcast.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Go through anything that comes to mind.
There you go.
I do want to hear when we come back, sometime when we come back with the Abraham Lincoln thing again. That was a good story.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I see you on Facebook a lot, posting pictures with your little doggy.
Yeah.
What's its name?
Bugsy.
Bugsy.
Bugsy. He's named after Bugsy Siegel, the Jewish gangster.
That's the shadow person that I saw when I was little.
Bugsy Siegel,
like flipping a coin and stuff.
There you go.
It was crazy. But yeah, we got a dog about like that. It's a little Chihuahua mix.
I tell you, he's the sweetest little fella on the planet. He's laying here in his bed in my office right now. He comes in and helps me do the interviews and helps me do my readings. So he's great company.
Yeah, he looks sweet in the pictures.
He is. He's a little doll. He's sweet.
So we're gonna go for a quick break, and
right.
We'll get you back on here in a minute.
Sounds great.
So for anybody just tuned in, we're talking with John Russell, international psychic, and we're talking about his new book and some other things. Is that right, David?
Yes, absolutely. Having a great conversation. And hopefully you're here listening to it live with us.
Yeah, we got a few people on Facebook and they're listening. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get back with John. And you got to hear this if you haven't heard it before about the Abraham Lincoln thing. It's so cool.
Yeah, the story, we heard this when we interviewed him the first time, and it's a fascinating story because of the fact of, and he'll tell it, of course, but of who it was shot with, who the series was shot with, and then that they ended up just having to cancel it. So it's definitely good.
Yeah. So remember, we're live on where, David?
We're live on Spreaker, Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, and X, or Twitter. And remember, every every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're on WDJY FM. That's Metro Atlanta. If you aren't living in the Metro Atlanta area, you go to WDJYFM.com, or you can go to Paranormal411.org. And right there on the front page is the link, and you could listen to us on Saturday nights, which is tonight.
All right. We'll be back right after this little break.
What if the world we know is merely a fraction of reality? What if there are forces, entities, and phenomena that exist just beyond our comprehension in the shadows of the unknown? Welcome to Paranormal 411, your gateway to the unexplained and the downright chilling. Imagine, if you will, a quiet, sleepy town tucked away from the hustle and bustle of the city. The locals tell tales of a house atop a hill where strange lights flicker and eerie sounds echo in the dead of night. Some say it's haunted, others claim it's a portal to another realm. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: those who venture there are never quite the same. Or picture this, a clear, starry night in the heart of the desert. Suddenly a blinding flash cuts across the sky, a craft of unknown origin moving at impossible speeds. It hovers, then vanishes, leaving only questions and a sense of awe. Could it be visitors from another world, or perhaps a secret government project? These stories, these encounters with the unknown, are what we love here at Paranormal 411. Our mission? To explore the unexplored, to question the unquestioned, and to shine a light into the darkest corners of the paranormal. We've journeyed through haunted houses and UFO sightings, and into the mysteries of cryptids and psychic phenomena, and pondered the existence of other dimensions. And yet, there is so much more to discover. Paranormal 411 is your guide to the unexplained and the extraordinary. Here we talk about the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of our world, from haunted houses and UFO sightings to cryptids and psychic phenomena. We love to question, to explore, and to understand the unknown. There's a world of mystery out there just waiting to be discovered. So why not join us on this journey into the unknown? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and become a part of the Paranormal 411 community. Together, we can uncover the secrets that the universe holds. Welcome to Paranormal 411. Your journey into the unknown starts here. Join us.
In the heart of Madisonville, Tennessee, lies a pizzeria like no other. Step through the door of Legends and Lore Pizzeria and be transported to a realm where paranormal and cryptid encounters, along with mouth-watering pizza, go hand in hand. Meet Eddie and his crew, who serve up slices of the supernatural along with the best pies in town. With the walls adorned with eerie artifacts, indulge in piping hot slices that melt in your mouth and tease your taste buds. And it's not just the locals who love the incredible pizza. Legends and Lore has been selected as the best pizza joint in all of Monroe County. As lovers of everything pizza and the paranormal, the owners have mastered the art of crafting unforgettable combinations that will leave you wanting more. To stay connected with this mystical eatery, follow Legends and Lore Pizzeria on Facebook, where tales of their latest creations and upcoming specials will be shared. Make sure to browse their custom menu, featuring legendary pizzas like the Chupacabra Ranch and the Exorcist. So, whether you have an appetite for the supernatural or simply seek the best pizza in town, Legends and Lore is the place to be. Come for the unforgettable flavors, stay for the captivating stories, and find yourself in a world where legends and pizza collide.
Get ready to rock with the electrifying sound of Catalyst, a band that's sure to leave you wanting more. With their powerful lyrics and killer riffs, Catalyst is a great sound in the world of rock music. You can listen and find Catalyst on Bandcamp, or go to the link at paranormal411.org and click on their banner.
All right. We are back
Right.
here talking with John Russell. Bring him back on. Hey, John.
Love
Oh,
that band. That's an awesome band.
it is. It's
Yes.
Catalyst. That's some of our friends. They do a good job.
And I need to go to that pizza joint.
Oh, you do? You need to
Oh,
make a trip to Tennessee. And I mean,
Yeah, there you go. There
we
you
can
go.
take you over there.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we were come here, baby. We were talking about the infamous Bugsy. Here he
Hey,
is.
Bugsy. Yeah. He looks just like my little Chihuahua. Sort of same colors.
He's a sweetheart. He normally comes and every time I'm on a podcast, he wants to jump up in my lap and be on the camera.
It's
So
good to have.
that's my baby right there.
It's good to have, and they're not just pets; they're like part of the family.
Their family. Yeah, that's my fur baby. He's my ride or die.
we've got two.
Yeah, David's got two baby dog and
Mocha Loca.
Mocha Loca,
Yeah.
plus all kinds
Yeah.
of chickens.
Yeah, there you go.
We got 30 something chickens.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of chickens.
You know, they had, I'll
Yeah.
tell you this, Michelle, his wife, she feeds us one chicken out of her hand because it has a twisted
Cross
beak,
beak.
a cross
Yeah.
beak.
Yeah.
And that thing, it's like just like a pet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's imprinted on her really good, and he'll crawl up in her lap, and she'll feed. She has to feed him by hand
Yep.
because of his cross beak. And but he'll, after he eats and he gets his little crop full, he'll just sit there and lay his head down on her lap and just go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of the crazy things. We skip ahead here a little bit and we'll get back to the Lincoln thing. But
Okay.
you know, I've got the 3 books in print, 3 books published now. And I've finished a 4th book, which is also nonfiction paranormal, goes back more to the storytelling mode. That's titled The Crying Tree and the Magic Rock, and that'll be out this year. And I'm about halfway through a 5th book now, which is titled The Cansack Ghost. That'll be out late this year or early next year. And one of the things I write about in these books is our interaction with nature, with animals, and the problems we encounter with the food chain, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that everything has thought, everything has feelings, animals are sentient. Now we've learned that plants are sentient. In one of my books, I write about and I document the resources for this that I researched. You know, used to, if you said that trees had feeling and the earth had feeling and was aware and plants had awareness and so on, well, you were a hippie or a tree hugger or a nutcase or whatever. Now, mainstream science, not anybody involved in the paranormal or the psychic realm or anything else, mainstream scientists are telling us trees have memory, trees have awareness, trees have feelings. Plants have feelings. Plants have awareness of their surroundings. Plants have emotions. Plants have the ability to think and so on and so forth. So it's like, holy cow, we suddenly become aware that this entire world we live in is sentient and aware and has feelings and emotions and wants to live and have purpose. And that complicates the food chain, you know, and I write about those issues at length in my books, and I don't have a pat answer for them. But just things that I think we need to become aware of, and how do we handle it? And then more compassion is always the answer. That's one thing that always works, is having more compassion.
Yeah.
But, you know, speaking on that, you know, in food chain and things like that, so the wife, we do a huge garden. I've got to make it a little bit bigger even this year than what it was last year. But
yeah,
we grow a lot of our food.
Yeah.
My wife cans the food, and so we eat a lot of our stuff. We don't have to go to the grocery store and buy. That's one of the reasons we got into chickens, right? Because, you know, eggs for a while went to where you go to the store.
Yeah.
You might be lucky to have a dozen, you know, in the grocery store.
Exactly.
And then you start doing research and start finding out that what you're eating at the grocery store, those chickens are made to produce eggs at such a rate that's unnatural, that they're really not as good for you as your egg that you know, get your own chickens and do them yourself.
Oh yeah, that's like I grow my own fruits and vegetables and things when I can, and you get that phenomenal, wonderful, delicious, fantastic flavor that's totally missing from grocery store fruits and vegetables now, because they're grown and produced and processed to have a shelf life and not a flavor, you know. And so it's always better when you can do it yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reason we got into chickens too, is because, you know, to risk sounding like a crazy person, but, you know, for the last few years, I've just had this feeling that we're headed into some really hard times.
Yeah.
And I've just had this feeling that hard times are about to come.
Yeah.
In whatever way that they're coming. I don't know what it is. I've just had this strong urge that they're coming and I need to do something. And so we started keeping chickens and stuff, not only for the eggs, but also for meat.
Yeah.
And you know, what you said was one of the hardest things for me, personally, was you raise these things. We raised most of them ourselves from eggs. We hatched them out ourselves. We grew these things from babies, you know. Exactly. And you get attached to these little things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
you
know,
and then you slaughter them for meat.
Yeah, that's right. There comes a time when you have to kill. We only do the males, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, and that was the hardest thing for me to do.
It's
because of the fact that I was attached to these animals. But you know, I had to come to the conclusion that we fed them the best we could. They didn't eat junk. They ate good food. They ate, you know, scraps from the gardens. And I mean, we and then they got a good life. They were happy. They weren't, you know, kept in little bitty coops. They got to run around and play and do things. And, and, you know, the humanity, you know, that part of it is the part that I was finally like, well, you know, at least they got to live a good life before they served another purpose.
Right. It's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing. And I think the older you get, you know, I'm going to be 70 next month. And when I was young, I hunted and, you know, didn't really have that many compunctions about it. And now I couldn't go hunting. I couldn't kill anything now. And I've talked to a lot of my contemporaries who are the same way. And they get up in age and it's like, no, I don't want to kill anything anymore. I don't want to hurt anything, you know, even if it's for food. And I only hunted for food when I was young. I never trophy hunted. I only hunted for food. But, you know, now I wouldn't even want to do that. And it's like your perspectives change. And then at the same time, you know, the conundrum is I have to eat something to stay alive. And if everything out there is sentient, I'm eating something sentient, whether it's plants and fruits and vegetables, or whether it's an animal or whatever. So it's a conundrum, and that's like I say, that's one of the things I address in one of my latest books. And we live on a difficult planet.
Yeah.
Now back to the Lincoln story.
I'll tell you the Lincoln story. When you came on the first time and you told this story and stuff, and I was floored because, you know, the fact that the History Channel put out so much money to shoot all this, to film all this, and then just go whoop and just shelve it.
Yeah. You know, I've learned that is a common thing in the television industry, to shoot something and have it in the can and then, nope, that's it. And that's happened with big stars even. So it does happen. There are a couple of things that, and this is just from my perspective, may or may not be true. There are a couple of things that may have derailed the project. For one thing, I know for a fact there was someone trying to sabotage the project out of jealousy. So I know that for a fact. The other thing was, and I had never mentioned this to my producer until several years after we had shot the pilot. And he went, "My God, you never told me that. I never knew that." And we were shooting at one of the historic locations. And I was giving them my psychic input of what I picked up that had happened there and what had gone on there. And the docent that was working there kept giving me these odd looks, these strange looks. And so we hit a break in the filming, and I walked over to her and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I want to ask you a question." She said, "Yeah, sure." And I said, "Now just be honest with me. Just relax, be yourself, be honest with me." I said, "I'm saying all this stuff, and I noticed you giving me these." Well, first I didn't ask her that. I said, of everything that I'm saying here, would you agree that I'm accurate, inaccurate, 50%, 100% what?" She said, "Oh my God." She said, it's incredible. You're right on the money. It's amazing." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. You keep giving me these odd, weird looks. if I'm so accurate, why are you giving me these strange, odd, weird looks at everything I'm saying? And she goes, oh, she said, well, there are ancestors, there are people here of the ancestors that were involved in all of this, and their relatives all still live in the area and are alive here. And if I agree with what you're saying, and some of that puts the ancestry in a bad light, then I could lose my job if I go on the record as agreeing with that and go on TV as saying that I agree with you. I could lose my job over that. And I was like, oh, okay. So some of it may have been we ruffled the wrong feathers, and people that still had influence and connections may have approached the History Channel and said, hey, you put this on the air, we're suing you. I don't know. That's just a theory, but I do know that she told me that, and we did ruffle some feathers. So, you know, who knows? But we were so disappointed that it didn't air, because in all honesty, I think we would have set the bar for all paranormal programs to come. That's how good it was.
Yeah. Oh man, it is a good story, and you can start telling it and tell us exactly what happened about that.
Yeah, you know, we went to Washington D.C., we went to Maryland, and the show was shot under the auspices of Atlas Media in New York City and the History Channel. And we had cachet to go into all of these historic places: Ford's Theater, the Mudd House, the Peterson House across from Ford's Theater where Lincoln was taken and then subsequently died. We had the cachet to go into all these places because of the History Channel. And we would go, it was me and the film crew. The docents would open up the place. It was locked to the public till we got there. They would open up the place. We would go in. They would lock the doors behind us. There were no tourists there. And then the docents would disappear. And I was left in Ford's Theater and the Mudd House and the Peterson House and all these places with just me and the film crew to wander around at will as I pleased and pick up all this psychic information and talk about it in the documentary. It was one of the most amazing, most fascinating things that there were. And it was just an honor and just amazing to be there. So the way that it came about that I was chosen for this, it was going to be a series, and it was going to be psychic history. And the first one was titled On the Trail of the Assassin. And that was on the trail, obviously, of John Wilkes Booth. And so I had received an email from Atlas Media. They wanted me to do an audition tape, and I sent that in to them. They liked that enough. We did a screen test, and that's where the camera crew came out, and we went to location. They filmed that, then sent that in to Atlas Media and to the History Channel. They liked that enough that they went ahead and signed me to the episode, to the series. I had a 5-year contract I was signed to, and we shot the pilot, and that's how all that came about. That's how I was chosen for that. So we went into Washington, D.C. into Maryland, and again on the trail of the assassin. We were on the trail of John Wilkes Booth. And the emphasis of it was, let's go where Booth went. Let's see what he picks up psychically. Was Booth ever repentant? Was he ever sorry for what he did? Spoiler alert, no, he wasn't. And I write more about that in my second book, A Knock in the Attic. There's more about behind the scenes about shooting the pilot, what it was like, and what I discovered. But it was absolutely amazing. And the really neat thing, I am the poorest student of history on the planet. Always was. I guess always will be. I don't like history. I'm not interested in history. Don't know anything about history. I was literally the guy in school, in grade school, junior high, high school, writing the dates and the things on his hand in ink to try and pass the history test. I was literally that bad. And so when they got me for this, they said, oh, we've got the perfect guy, because he doesn't know anything. And if he picks up anything at all that we can verify, it's going to be from the psychic gift. Well, I picked up a ton of stuff that they were able to verify because we had access because of the History Channel to the Lincoln experts. We had access to massive research and historical books and so on and so forth. So whatever I came up with, they could comb through all this mountain of information and verify, or they could talk to the Lincoln experts and verify. So they were able to verify, virtually everything that I picked up on. And we also caught paranormal phenomena on camera, which was really exciting. So it was a phenomenal experience, and just we were all heartbroken that it never aired.
Man, I'm a person who really loves history. I could edge out on history stuff, and to be able to go into some of those places and do what it is that you do, that would just, I don't know, that would be amazing.
It was unreal to stand in the places where history occurred, and then to pick up on some of the spirits that would come back to me to communicate with me, and to pick up on the energies, the replay of what had happened in those environments. And for people, I would pick up on things that were maybe not commonly known. Like I said, when we went to the Peterson house, I said, man, I'm picking up on Mrs. Lincoln. And I said, she's like pacing back and forth, and she's not crying. She's not weeping. She's like screeching. She's like wailing. She's like just inconsolable and like just screeching. And they did the research and said that was the way she was that night, that she would just walk through the Peterson house and just wail and scream and screech. And I was able to pick up on all of those things. And it was just incredible, just mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. It's a good story, and I like hearing it. For all these listeners that that would like to hear more about John and his books, won't you tell them about all that, where they can get them, and
yeah, all the books are available at all major booksellers online. So you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Apple Books, Walmart and Target even carry some of them, most of them. And the books are Riding with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead. That's my first one. Second book's Knock in the Attic. Third book's 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities. The other books are coming out later this year. I have a website for my psychic work, which is johnrussell.net, johnrussell.net. And that's if you want a reading or want to find out more about my psychic work. And then I have an author's website specifically for the books. So if you want to find out more about the books or have links to buy the books, go to johnrussellauthor.com, johnrussellauthor.com, and that'll give you all the information on the books.
Yeah. One more thing I'd like to say, the food that you prepare and show on Facebook looks delicious.
Oh, thank you. I love to cook. I love to eat. My wife's a phenomenal cook, and I'm a pretty fair cook, and I like to cook. I like to eat. And there was a time I had a Flickr account, which is for photography, for my photographs. And a buddy and I, fellow biker buddy and I, we started a recipe group there and came up with all kinds of stuff. And I love to barbecue, and I love to bake. I love to bake breads and cakes and pies, and I like to make dips. I come up with my own dip recipes. I'll make a really good guacamole. I'll make a fantastic marinara sauce from scratch, and all kinds of good stuff. I've been barbecuing since I was a kid, and of course, growing up in West Texas, barbecue's a religion. So I've been doing that a lot. So, I love to cook and love to eat. And if you see a good full-length picture of me, I ain't never missed a meal.
Me either.
Me neither.
Yeah. David, you're not that big. He does eat good though, and he can barbecue pretty good.
There you go.
I like barbecuing for sure.
Hey, I know you. If you ever get up this way and you want to go to that pizza place, let us know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, we know Eddie and his wife, personally. So Eddie has done a lot of investigations for ghost investigations and Bigfoot investigations, and he has them posted up lot of pictures posted up in the pizzeria and everything.
Oh,
It's cool.
that's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some good stories. You can sit there all day and he can tell you stories and
There you go. There
eat
you
pizza.
go.
Man, he's got the best wings I know of.
There you go.
Well, John, you got anything else for John David?
No.
No.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think we're about to close this thing out. I know we've enjoyed having you on here, John, and
I appreciate it.
it's always fun to talk to you. Go ahead.
We'll have to try to get you back on when you get your next book.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys. We always have a good talk, and hope the listeners appreciate it. And I'll be happy to come back with y'all anytime. Got a lot more stories to tell. We always kind of run out of time, but a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah, Eddie, I think it's Eddie, or it might be his wife. He just chimed in here on Facebook and said he'd love to have you come out to the pizza shop.
Oh, there you go. I'd love to do that.
We got his information. I can get a hold of him. So, yeah.
Yep.
John, we really appreciate it. And
thank you, John.
Hey, I thank y'all. I appreciate it very much, and wish everybody a good night. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and check out the books. You're going to enjoy them.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Definitely check out the books because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'll send you the link for the radio thing probably tomorrow or sometime.
Excellent. Good deal.
All right, John. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. That was John Russell, author, psychic, over 50 years experience in his field. He's a great guest.
I like the way that he, kind of interpreted what happened to me when I was a kid, because I've always wondered about it. Wondered about it. And to think that could be a possibility is kind of neat.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Even with the dreams that I had, I mean, you got to go out and get his books because they are great books.
It struck a chord with me when he said it. Like that's the truth. That's what I've been waiting to hear. All these years, that's what I've been waiting to hear. Right there, what he just said. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, David. You got anything else before we close this great show?
Well, we haven't got to mention it too much. And I'm back in Tennessee, everybody. Whoop, whoop. I'm at mile marker 18 on 24, about to be in Nashville. But, something that we haven't mentioned a lot, but we do have a new book that's going to be coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
Our old book is going to go bye-bye because this is going to be volume 2.
It's going to be, we rebuilt it bigger and better.
That's it. It's like the $1 Million Man, right?
Yeah.
Faster. But it's definitely going to be it is a really nice book. I mean, we've almost got most of it done. We're going to send it out to get proofread and all that stuff. And it's got a little bit to go, but probably within the next couple months, it's probably going to be ready. Yeah. And so we're going to, at some point, we're going to start throwing out the artwork, the book cover and everything on all of our social media and everything. So everybody, stay tuned for that. And we'll definitely have a pre-order for it too. Right, Jason?
Oh, yeah.
And we're also going to be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival this year.
Oh, yeah.
In an official capacity, right?
Yeah, we'll be set up doing interviews.
May the 4th. Yeah. And that's on May the 4th, right?
May the 4th be with you.
That's right. That's why it's so easy for me to.
Yeah. Then we'll be going to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg.
And this is our 5th year, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, 4th or 5th.
Yeah, we've been going there for a little while and really enjoy it. Always enjoy it. Getting to meet everybody, getting to meet fans and hearing everybody's stories. You know, that's something we don't mention a lot, is that if you have a story and you want to tell it, you know, you could send it to us at info@paranormal411.org. And we would love to hear those.
And we do have a chat going on our Facebook page. You can get in the chat and tell us there, or the best way is probably email. Yeah,
email if it's a long form. I mean, if you know, the more detailed, the better. But yeah, definitely we want to hear those stories, and you know, we definitely want to look and see everybody and find everybody at the conference and the festival this year, and we'll have a new book for everybody to buy and sign. So,
oh yeah.
Oh,
remember, 10 o'clock tonight we'll be on WDJY in Atlanta 99.1 or WDJYFM.com.
Yeah, or you go to paranormal411.org. Right there on the front page, you can click on the link.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Oh yeah, everybody have a good night. Have a good weekend.